All right, Katie, it is post Kona time. Joanne has not made it back from it's like a 38-hour trip for her. So she is going to be back next week. I am here. I am not coherent. How are you doing?
Also here, probably more coherent, but also still flying by the seat of my pants. I would like to share. So you gave me this microphone, right, for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Kimball's favorite thing now is to be announced by the microphone in the hallway up from our room. And I have to say, we have to announce him like we're announcing like a triathlon race. And if I start the race, I need to say, "You are now in the hands of the starter."
Oh, really?
Beep. And if I don't, he tells me, "Mom, you didn't say it right." So I'd just like you to know that your microphone that has been given to us is being well used both
Well
by
used.
myself and Kimball's race prep.
One of my friends this past week in Kona said there was a period her kid went through where the only context she knew that people ran and biked was in races. So she would start just cheering people commuting to work because she thought
Yes.
anyone biking was in a race. So.
Yes. And the hard part with Kimball now is he'll be like, he doesn't have the filter and he'll be like, "Mom, why are they running slow?"
Right.
And I'm like,
What's wrong with her?
they're running great."
you take him to your practice and he's like, why are they doing that bad?
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's going to be he'll give the hook to our athletes.
Exactly. All right, I said we were going to talk, jump over Kona real quick because obviously anyone who's been listening all week has had daily podcasts, recaps, all the interviews. But I want to know, did you watch it? Were you just like, oh man? I guess it was pretty late there, wasn't it?
No, it was actually the perfect time here
Oh,
for us. And yes, this was the most engaged I've ever been with Kona. And that's still obviously it's an Ironman. So it's intermittent, going in and out of paying attention.
right.
But that was a very interesting Kona from my side of things. And I'm like, well, maybe I just haven't paid attention before. And as we've talked about, now knowing
Right.
more of the athletes on course and having just being more familiar with everybody, I think really was interesting. But so much heartbreak, but
I
also
know.
heart happiness too for some. So yes, I don't know, gut wrenching in the
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of just obviously what everybody's already talked about with Lucy and Taylor, but then also to see, oh my God.
There's just a lot of
Solvay
people. Yeah.
do so good.
I have to tell you, before we did our preview show, everybody was pronouncing it Solveig, and then you were saying it correctly. And so then when I saw her in Kona, I was like, Katie was pronouncing your name differently, and she knows you, and so I must be doing it wrong. And I made her teach me how to pronounce it, which I still do not well. But then I think everyone got the memo, Katie. They were like, "Oh wait," so woo.
Well, that's kind of nice. I was like, maybe I wasn't saying it right, but
I don't think anyone I don't think anyone's getting it totally right yet because none of us have the right Norwegian accent, but
Norwegian
we'll have to
accent.
learn it. You also were like, Lisa Pritterer, watch out. And then that was what everybody was telling me all week. And then there she was. I was like, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Mostly going back to Solvay, 4 out of 6 Norwegians
I
on the
know.
world champ Ironman podium is pretty amazing, especially if you think of the country.
Oh, I like how you're
So
making a little picture.
small.
Yeah. The country is like 4 million. I looked this up at one point because I was curious. Um, yeah, it was something like the size of South Carolina, something like that, population wise.
Yeah, that's really
Wild.
pretty darn crazy and special.
Yeah. So it was really, I mean, and she's awesome. I think a lot of people found she has new fans.
Oh yeah.
So it was really nice to see her win. Her boyfriend was overwhelmed for sure. He was walking around carrying the bouquet and the bag and what is happening. So
Oh, um, I have was Kona it just looked like it's the grittiest race ever
it was
on
hot.
was it hotter than normal? I always think of Kona as hot.
Yeah, my husband was like, "Isn't this knowable? Couldn't they
Yeah,
have
that's
the
kind of how I
stats?"
thought.
Right. And then I was like, "It's triathlon, Steve. They couldn't even tell me how many people started, okay? We're not,
Oh,
ESPN yet." But yeah, he thinks we could go back and look at every date and like find out the weather. I think it was like 90 degrees ish, which is obviously hot but normal, but it was the humidity. I think the
Mm.
humidity is what like really hit people. It was very humid in the afternoon.
Well, because like the other thought that I was thinking was just how people are racing Ironman now. I
Right.
feel like they're racing it a lot more aggressively and assertively because that front end is getting closer and closer. Although I say that and the time gaps were
Sure.
like amongst everyone except for Solveig and Kat.
Sure. I mean, that's obviously just like how Ironman goes. But yeah, I think more and more people are racing it aggressively. And so then you also have the like blow ups more than it kind of goes up and down, right? Like you used to have blow ups when people didn't know how to fuel. And then we kind of
Yeah.
got over that for a long time. And now I feel like you're having the like, oh, you went way too hard kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
But like even watching, because like I was saying, I was kind of in and out, and I went even watching like Taylor and Lucy. I was like, whoa, like I saw them walk through the aid stations, but I was like, well, maybe that's like their strategy. And then when they both like were like stepped off course or pulled off course, I was like, oh wow, that like, I mean, I'm sure for them maybe it felt more.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking that too because I think on the broadcast you saw little bits where they were like the kind of delirious, stumbling,
Yeah.
wobbly. But I think if you were like out there, you could tell it a lot more that they were like they were not all there. Neither of them remembers anything
Wow, that's scary.
from like before to so
Yeah.
so there was definitely some brain frying, which if like people like who have been listening for a while, like Sarah Chu used to talk to us a little about that because she obviously went through that. Like you just start to cook your
Yeah. Tommy
internal.
had a heat stroke and 2 seizures at the end of a race, and like his short-term memory was like
Not good.
not, he had a list next to him that said, this is what happened. He was in the hospital. It's like, this is what happened to you. This is why your throat hurt, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, it was scary.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're both safe.
Yeah, I think, and like you just have to like take some time to recover because like you do just kind of cook your, you know what I'm saying. When your core temperature goes over a certain point.
Yeah.
So you watched Kona. Did you watch the? I mean, we kind of missed this in all the Kona, but did you watch the SuperTri finale? Final? Do they call it the grand final or the finale? I don't know what they call it.
Neither.
What do they call it in SuperTri? The
Well, now you put both of those in my head, so now I'm
like you can't figure it out.
Right. The final.
The final. The big race. Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Yeah. But
okay. It's like now I can't think of anything except what you just said.
I think they call it the grand final. Anyway, it was in Toulouse. And Jeanne won again. Sorry, I paused there because I was like, I can't say Jeanne with the right French, Jeanne with the right French accent.
Jeanne.
Yeah, I was like Jeanne.
Yes. Yep. Anne got proposed to at the finish or somewhere amongst the finish
on the podium
festivities. Yeah. So
I was which obviously went super viral. It was like on TNT Sports in Europe, and it's always funny to me what goes super viral. Like the 80-year-old who finished Kona, Natalie.
Oh yeah.
Who we interviewed. You can hear her interview like on the podcast last week, and that has just gone super. People who don't know anything about triathlon are like sending. So yeah,
proposal as it should.
Like, oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. But the proposal went super viral too. I feel like because that was everywhere. We had a proposal at Kona too. We haven't made it through an all women's race without a proposal yet, and now we never will. Yeah.
And now we never will. And that was the end. Good job.
So yeah,
proposer.
But because it was really funny, and I assume like the proposal at SuperTri, I know because I like know a couple of the media guys involved like a whole lot of organization behind the scenes to like get the TV cameras and then at Ironman I saw they were really really weird and strict about access this year and just like stopping people's family, you know, like it was all just very weird. So the guy who wanted to propose like couldn't get in, and so the CEO had to like come out and like orchestrate it. It was a whole thing.
Wow, that's a memorable one.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, Jeanne won SuperTri. Jeanne, I can't say it right. Jeanne.
Onward we go.
Yeah. Won SuperTri, but then everyone now, of course, is off to the grand final. The final, what do they call it in WTCS? The
grand final. That
is grand final championship race for World Triathlon.
Yes.
So that was what we were primarily going to talk about today.
Yes.
It is, for people who don't know, World Triathlon Championship Series Grand Final in Wollongong, which is also the World Championship for the age groupers, World Championship for like U23, para has a different name for it, but it's also the World Championship, basically, like the Grand Final. There's also a mixed relay, right? It's like 6 days of stuff.
It's a lot. Tommy's gone from the 12th to the 20th there. And the festivities are starting today.
Yeah, there's like a Parade of Nations or something.
Yeah, and I think the U23 race is today. Pretty sure.
There's U23.
But yeah, for
and
us, it's a little bit for World Triathlon, it's a little bit different in the sense that like if you are world champion, it's because you've won the series, not the race. So it's all about, gosh, I should know this, but I believe it's the 5 races. What is it? Fact check me.
So your top 3 count up to now, and then the final,
plus the
right?
grand final.
Plus the final.
And the grand final's weighted heavier.
Yeah. So to be world champion, you have to win the series, which is you're right. It's interesting because like I was just looking at mountain biking, and mountain biking had its own world championship event, and there was a world championship, and then she also won the overall series because they had their final races. And I was like, that's sort of weird. You're like,
but that's like your Ironman series.
Yeah, I guess it's just like the Ironman Pro Series is so much. No one's confusing that for the world championship right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so to be world champion in World Triathlon, though, you have to win the series.
Right.
And right now, Beth Potter and Cassandre Beaugrand are tied going into the final because they both because your top 3 races count. And so even though Beth raced more, she dropped her bottom 3 scores. So they both have 2 wins and a second place in their top 3 scores.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah. Like they're like, so obviously it's just like whoever comes out ahead is going to win.
As long as neither of them finish 4th or lower. Or like as long as both of them don't finish 4th or lower. And then because Jeanne
is right behind, is it 200 points behind them, right? And 3rd right now.
Yeah. So they have to finish on the podium if Jeanne wins.
Oh, if Jeanne wins. See, this is where it gets so like obviously it's not that confusing this year because like it's pretty like straightforward because they're tied. But some years it's like, well, this person needs to finish 4 places ahead of this person if this other person, and then it gets very, very confusing.
Yeah, I mean the only thing though, like we saw it in Kona, like both top contenders leading the race. Granted, this race is shorter by a lot, but like, things happen. So still interesting, but I also feel like that puts a lot of pressure for like Beth and Cassandre. Like they obviously know who they need to like.
Well,
like know who they need to beat.
So they're tied for first. Jeanne is in 3rd, and then it's like Lisa Tersch and Leonie Perriot, and all of them have won a race this year. Like usually we don't have that many different winners. I don't want to say usually, but there have been like 5 different winners of WTCSs this year.
Yeah,
which is a lot.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. And just in this, like, I don't know. I feel like going back to like anything can happen. It makes these races more interesting when you know everyone can win one.
Sure.
Well, not everyone, but like, you know what I'm saying.
So the course itself, from my understanding, if I was looking, like it's 2 laps in the swim, which is fine, whatever.
It's
fine, whatever. Well, we'll allow it. But I'm just saying, it's like, because the point is like, it's an ocean swim. Like it doesn't, whatever. But then it's like 7 laps on the bike, and they were trying to sell it as like slightly hilly. Like there's a climb and then descent, but I couldn't really tell, like, how hilly is it? Is it really actually that hilly?
I was actually asking, since Tommy is on the ground there,
nice.
Like I was actually asking him about it along with Jeanne Lehair, a para-athlete I coach. And I think there are hills, probably nothing that is going to break apart the race. But it does make it more interesting still than like the flat race. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be that big of it's not like a Bermuda climb or like Lausanne.
That's what I was going to ask is like, what's the strategy here? Because obviously behind those 5 we just listed, you still have like Taylor Spivey, who went off at, I'm losing the race, Carla Vivari earlier this year. And you have Maya Kingma back. And so like, could people try and attack on the bike, or is this just going to come down to like a running race again?
I mean, I would think that like the ones who both like Taylor and Maya that they would, and I'm trying to think of, I need to look at the whole start list like, um, but just thinking that they'll try to attack, like their
Right.
best bet to have their best result. Like they're not just going against Cassandre and
Sure.
Beth in it. So they'll make it an honest race, I think.
You think they're good? Because like obviously, I feel like Beth and Cassandra both are kind of like, sure, let's just run a fast 5K, 10K. Like, I mean, that's not. I'm not saying that's all it takes. I'm just saying I feel like they would be fine with the group sticking together.
I think they would be, but they both also race for like the front end as
Sure.
well. So it'll be and to like both of their points, like if one of them misses that front group and say like Cassandra's in the group with
Mm-hmm.
Taylor and Maya and they're in like a breakaway position or vice versa with Beth, that then they'll definitely be motivated to keep that like strung apart. And I would say that Cassandra normally has the better swim,
Mm-hmm.
and is more at the pointy end of the swim coming out of the water. So she could like not projecting on the race, but making that front possible breakaway group would make it the day a little bit, um, start the day off right, I guess. That's right.
Start the day off right. Perfect.
Well, I was gonna say easier, but it's not easier. It's just
It's ideal. You would like to
it's
be.
ideal.
It's
You
ideal.
get to run against less people.
Does it obviously it's an ocean swim and it's like a beach start with a Aussie exit or whatever they call it in the middle, which just means they get out and run around the beach. Does that change like like all the world triathletes are like very very good swimmers, but I assume some of them are better ocean swimmers than others, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And entry into the ocean. Some people are better than others. Like because what was it? I think it was Cagliari, like a year or two ago, and someone like face planted. I think it was like Alex Yee or something, just
Mm.
like straight down in the sand. Like, and not because I'm not saying he's bad at doing the run-ins. That one was, but like, but it's not quite as sure as like diving off a pontoon, and
Sure.
even like entry into the water, especially with an ocean. Even when you do the course preview, that like lead in is going to be different depending where you are on the beach, where your foot strikes, like once you're entering the water, where the waves are, if there are like if it is a beach start in the sense that it's unsheltered with waves. So
I feel like Taylor's pretty good at. I mean, people who came from like a surfing background or
yeah.
like a lifeguard background are pretty good at it. I feel like Taylor's pretty good at it. I'm terrible at it. I have no idea what's going. I'm like I don't
Oh, I loved
know.
it. I loved it. But yeah, Taylor for sure is like really good at it. And like also the way people talk about themselves with it is really interesting because just if you talk to Taylor, she would be very confident in it. And like
Mm,
I think that matters a lot just in the sense of if if you go into it already knowing like this is my swim,
mm,
like that helps with you coming out of the swim in a good position.
interesting. All the dynamics are funny. Like, I mean, obviously they matter in Iron Man too, but I was like, somebody got to like Kat Matthews got delayed in T1 because like ice got stuck in her helmet and she had to like, and she missed the group by like 20 seconds. And everyone's like, oh my God. And like, it was fine, right? She caught back up to the group. It wasn't a big deal. I feel like in World Tri, you're like, oh no, I like got the wrong step into the water and now I missed the group and it's all my day's over.
No, that's not the ones that are doing the best. Like, I mean, maybe some people, but I think there's just so much to like there's so much urgency to it and like um I mean, granted like the race can come together, but you can't just be sure about that and you can't just kind of race your own race. So, um and I think that like it also depends on how like that run in is can be exhausting to just because in the sense of like I know we're coming off Iron Man, but just in
Right,
the
right.
extent of like how assertive that you have to like you're like bounding into the water, and then you're doing dolphin dives if it's shallow enough, and then you have a wave. So like being able to then settle, and then if you're coming in, like being aware of if there's a wave behind you to try and catch it. And it really like I'm like excited to watch it to see how it impacts the race. And granted, they also have like all these races leading up to them to see what happens.
Like they
and,
can watch like the U23s and the juniors and the like, so they know. The women go the T100 is the day before, but then the WTCS is on Sunday. The women go first, and then the men go after them. We did the math. It is Saturday evening, 8 p.m. here, California, 11 p.m. for you guys on the East Coast. Ooh, so it's Sunday afternoon in Australia. All right, Kate, if you had to guess, do you think it's going to be a race that breaks up, or is it going to be like a big group?
I think it's going to be a breaks up.
Breaks up. Okay.
I think the combination of the swim being an ocean swim with the beach start combined with the bike course could have a potential to break it up a bit.
Okay, here's my other question. So, like, there can be a max of 65 athletes at the final, right? Like, usually it's like 50 or 55, but the final can be more. There's only 46 athletes on the start list right now, and I assume like a few more may roll on. But why would there be less athletes for the final? Are teams just not sending? Nice, you shrug on a podcast.
I'm bringing a lot of value here. I think it's far. I think because it's a year right after the Olympics, it's not like the primary focus of everybody. And in the sense of, you do see people doing like mainly T100. There's athletes that have been like kind of leaving this like after an Olympics. There's athletes that then move on to like the next thing, or just aren't like, I mean, you're missing like, well, we had multiple of the athletes in the world championships that had just finished their short course career. Like Georgia Taylor Brown would be a good example of like someone who's not in it. Myself, recently retired.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of impacts it a little bit more, but it is interesting not to have like a full start list, especially because a lot of the start list for a lot of the other races currently are full, but a lot of the federations will also only fund a certain level of athlete to the grand final or just like the series races in general. They want the athletes who are going to be their most competitive there. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I was looking at it, and there's definitely some athletes who are getting for sure like their first grand final start, like some new names, which is interesting. So yeah, I was just curious. Because on the U.S., we also have, I mean, like Taylor's racing for the U.S., but then we also have Kristen Kasper back, and I don't think she's raced much this year. But so that'll be good, interesting.
Yeah, because she's coming back from her surgery still.
So she's on the start list.
And then Danielle Ori is a Talent ID athlete, and I'm pretty sure this is her first World Triathlon.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I feel like there are some
work. Oh no, she did way high. Sorry.
Okay, but there are some people getting their first kind of grand final start here, so
take the opportunity.
Take the opportunity.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's such a, maybe this is just from like me thinking more so from like the people who I've seen racing versus there's so many also new names racing the grand final. So it's kind of an interesting like reset year to see how how like the new tribe that's going to be leading us into
LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, people who heard, this just reminded me, people who listened to our post-race like panel where we had Taylor come on, the USA TCO was also on and Taylor was like, sorry, I think I'm going to have to do Kona again before I start getting ready for LA.
No. Oh, yeah. I did notice I saw something she posted that was like, see you next year. I'm like, oh no.
Because yeah, it's obviously a lot of people, like the build to LA has started kind of coming out of this. So
hey Feisties, Sarah Gross here. We are so excited to be back with you here on our new shiny Feisty Triathlon podcast. Thank you for listening. I am so glad you're here. I want to tell you about one of the Feisty team's favorite recovery products, Previnex's Neurify Plus. I use the chocolate flavor myself every day to support my strength training. At Feisty, we only support brands that our team uses and products that deliver results we have seen for ourselves. Previnex's Neurify Plus is one of the best tasting plant-based and vegan shakes I've tried, and trust me, I've tried a lot. It contains balanced protein, carbs, and fat with comprehensive, high-quality micronutrients to help fuel your health. It also contains probiotics and digestive enzymes, so it's super easy to digest and doesn't give you that bloaty, gassy kind of effect that other protein products can produce. Unlike most supplement brands, Previnex tests everything with pharmaceutical-grade precision, and they also offer a 100% money-back guarantee. So try Neurify Plus or any Previnex product today, and you get 15% off your first order with the code FEISTYTRI at Previnex.com. That's FEISTYTRI for 15% off at Previnex.com. The link will be, as always, in the show notes.
Hate indoor training? We have great news. We have partnered with Wahoo to offer you a special deal on the Wahoo Kicker Run, a treadmill that will convert even the most diehard treadmill haters. Wahoo, the same company that revolutionized indoor cycling training, has literally broken the treadmill mold with this machine. With its special run-free mode, you can just hop on it and run. It naturally adjusts the pace as you do, just like you would outdoors. Speed up, slow down, it moves with you as you do. It can also simulate the terrain by subtly tilting the angle from side to side, so again you feel like you're really running, not locked into an unnatural pace or place. Or you can lock it in or even program workouts, so it does put you through your training paces, including both inclines and declines. And it's stunningly quiet, even when you're humming along full tilt. Even if you love training outdoors, the Kicker Run is a game changer for year-round training. No more trying to navigate ice-covered roads, awful weather, or worrying about going out in the dark. We love it, and we think you will too, so check it out. Click the link in the show notes and use the code FEISTY, all caps, one word, FEISTY, to get a free Headwind smart fan valued at $300 with the purchase of a Wahoo Kicker Run. That's code FEISTY to get a free fan when you purchase a Wahoo Kicker Run. We will drop a link in the show notes to make it a snap.
The other one that's mixed in here, because we've said there's para races, there are U23, there are juniors, there are mixed relay. There's also the T100, which is such a it's such a weird, obviously we all know that it wasn't originally planned for this. There was supposed to be a Vegas race that got canceled. It got moved to Wollongong. But because it's the WTCS final and you just had Kona, I feel like all the long course athletes are just not here, and all the short course athletes are focused on the WTCS. So it's a very, very weird mix.
Yeah. I was like, who's racing T100 right now? But there's actually.
Ashley Gentle and Kate Woff are obviously the favorites. And I think Kate probably has the slight upper hand on Ashley, though it's Ashley's not hometown, but home country race. But yeah, so I saw some people on the list too that I was like Els Visser, would she race? She pulled out a Kona a week ago, or there's just where you're just I think some people might be on the start list, but they were waiting to see how they felt, or what their priorities were. Fenella has rolled onto the start list, which is cool. Good for her.
I was just seeing her name.
Because we know obviously she wants to return at Ironman Western Australia, Cairns, whichever one is later this year. So I guess this would be a tune-up.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see this race, but it is missing a lot of your normal T100 crew.
Yeah. I have to assume it's a Kate or Ashley, even though Ellie Salthouse is in there and Carolyn Pohl, I got to assume Kate or Ashley will win it. I have to assume.
I would go with the similar. I'll go with Ash on it just because it's that home country advantage. Yeah.
Perfect. And that one is Saturday afternoon, so Friday night in the US. And then they are also doing 3 laps on the swim, 6 laps on the bike, 7 laps on the run. it's unclear to us if they're like the same laps.
Tommy said it's similar.
Okay. So they're like starting, they have the same outline, but then slightly
Same
different.
base. I asked
Same
him if it's the
base.
same base. That was my specific question to him. He's our informant because he's there.
Perfect.
Which I do love, like that. I like the idea of it being like a festival of races, right? Like the T100 and World Triathlon. And I think if you would have asked me before this year, I'd be like, that's a great idea. But then seeing it into like how it's kind of, because there's so much overlap right now, it really doesn't help the athletes in the sense of you have to choose which one is your priority. And I think that's can be a hard choice.
I think it's also confusing from a spectator point of view when you're like, these are the pros. No, these are the pros. And you're like, what is happening? And they announced that they're going to bring a WTCS back. So the other thing that happens at the, whatever the long name is, the World Championship Grand Final, is that they have a lot of meetings. So they also announced that the championship will be in, well, it's in Ponte Vedra next year, but then it'll be in Hamburg the year after. And they announced they're bringing WTCS back to London next year. And they're going to do it the same weekend as like the T100 London, but there won't be a T100 pro race. So they're going to have like the age group T100 race, and then they're going to have the WTCS London. So they're kind of trying to like have the T100 run the mass participation part and then have the WTCS be the pro race.
That seems better to me.
Well, it like makes more logical sense. It's only funny because the PTO is a professional triathlon organization.
Oh, it's a good point. When you call it T100, though, you get to miss that part. But
like,
the logistics of that seem better than having pro T100 with World Triathlon,
right?
Especially as it gets closer to like the Olympic, because Olympic points start next year, or 2026.
Points and rankings is very confusing. I got very confused how Cassandre and Beth were tied when Beth had done 6 races and Cassandre had only done 3. Turns out only 3 count. But then you have the World Triathlon Championship Series rankings. You have the World Triathlon rankings. You have the Olympic points rankings. And you're like, what is happening?
It is very confusing. I will give you that. I don't think this is
the place,
the time or place. Other than that, there's a lot of different rankings going on.
There are a lot of different rankings.
And you can, anyways, it's a deeper dive.
I'm just always curious that if you all have to like really, really understand it, because like you don't want to screw it up, if you're trying to like get the Olympic points.
Oh, 100%. And it does happen. Like we've had, because so one of the things that matters is how many athletes you have in, I want to say, the top 40 for the Olympic rankings, and whether you get 2 or 3 spots at the Olympics. And in the past Olympics, the US has only had 2 spots. And the reason that the points matter for the men, and the reason that the points matter for that, is because you need to be racing the appropriate races to try to maximize your points based off where you're placing in the races, which is just probably just sounded ridiculous. Like maybe didn't make complete sense, but it does matter a lot going into the Olympics, because as a country, you want to have 3 and 3.
I know, but then there's like the athlete who could be the one to like earn the points and get into the top 40 and get the 3rd spot is not necessarily the one who will get awarded the spot. So sometimes they're like, well, why should I like get the points and race more when it doesn't like benefit me? So it becomes very, and obviously like in the US, we operate kind of differently than some of the other federations, because we let people, because we're America and you can do whatever you want. And so like we have less of like the British Tri is like, you will do this, right? Or Australian Tri is like, you will do this. Yeah. So it's like a weird thing, and it always confuses the shit out of people whenever we get down to it. They're like, what happened? And you're like, well.
Yeah. It's always trying. It is very interesting from like, because to your point, like a lot of the other countries, like other than us, are like, they are just going to choose the performance base. I mean, they have criteria, but the criteria is high, like top level criteria. If someone's podium in both their qualification events. Like,
right.
surely they are the ones that
Right.
should be going. So they're more high performance cutthroat. And it's not to say that USAT isn't, but our criteria, like, we're very criteria trying to make it fair.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a different environment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. Like, we have, like, it's not just triathlon, right? It's like very built into like America's ethos. Like, our track like trials are wide. Like, a lot of other countries don't operate track trials that way, right? And we're very like, well, it's fair. You cross the line. So that's just how it goes. But to your point, this is why the points get very confusing, and points start soon. So I was like, next year. So
yeah.
So I guess that ends our year of people doing random other things, because they'll start to focus again.
Dial in more, yeah. Especially the ones, I mean, the problem is, and my experience, it was only just because of having Kimball, but like, everybody else is accumulating points over this time. So if you're not focusing on World Triathlon racing and you're not getting those points, then you fall out of the top 5 Americans or top 5 of your country. And then when you want to get on a start list, no matter how good you are, like, you have a challenge of doing that. So, and to the same thing about what we were just talking about with how like USA is a little bit different, is like, for the most part, they try to be quite good about not subbing people until there is like
a need /
a solid, like,
right.
For when I was coming back after pregnancy, like, I wouldn't be subbed for a person before I had beaten them in a race. So I may not have had as many points as them, but like, at least in the head to head, I was coming up.
Yeah. They try to not sub in.
It is frivolously.
But that is not a problem yet. That is a problem starting December 1st, January 1st, or something like that. Yeah, sometime soon. First, we have to get through the finals. So my other question for you is, since you are running your development team now, and Tommy's, running USAT development, are you guys like, do you know everything about the U23 and juniors race? Are you guys like really focused on that race also?
No, not yet. I mean, mainly, of course, like, following it, but not like focused on it, because most of our athletes aren't coming. None of our athletes are at like the level of racing at Worlds yet. So he's there, and like, of course, we're interested in following it. But
I was gonna say, is there anybody we should be like keeping our eye on that's like up and coming that people don't know about? But then obviously there's like the ones that are they've already moved to the senior level. Like, you have whoever you mentioned before, who's doing her first
Danielle Ori,
right? And you have Julien Vermeulen, whose name I can't pronounce. You pronounce it better.
Vermilion is how I would do it, but honestly, like, you do you.
You do you. But she's also obviously kind of cracked in from the juniors levels into the elite this year. So there's like people you're like, keep your eye on. But yeah, I was just curious if there's anyone up and coming we should know about.
Well, like Naomi Ruff, who's NCAA champion, sure. She's racing. Joy Gill, who has been on the podium. I mean, all of the women who are racing U23, there's quite a few of the NCAA athletes who will be there. And it's really, they were the ones who, way back yonder, we were saying how great they were doing in the Europe races. So I feel like there's been a little bit of, I'm not sure that many have raced in the most recent months, so it'll be good to see how they do at
Is
the
NCAA
for U23.
The NCAA season's right now too, right? So they're like taking a break, and then I don't know.
Everything's now.
Awesome. And of course there's the para races, which there's like a lot of the world champs returning. I have to say, I assume Lauren Parker is like, I mean, being from Australia, being like so many time world champion, she's got to be, I am not there, but I got to imagine she's all over the news and the headlines.
She's on the flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got to be the favorite in the wheelchair race. So
If you've listened to this show for more than, a minute, you know that I am a huge proponent of strength training, especially lifting heavy for strength, power, and resilience as we go through midlife and menopause, when age and our hormones make all of that harder to hang on to. So I am super stoked that I am getting to be part of Feisty 40 Plus's Strong Retreat this November 14th through the 16th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This retreat is designed specifically for women 40 and over, and it's 100% devoted to building a strong foundation that will support you for the rest of your life. Led by Feisty favorite strength coach Cassie Neiman and me, Celine, the retreat will give you all the fundamentals you need with hands-on coaching and small group feedback. You'll get tutorials on mobility and movement prep, learn how to do all the big lifts, and be privy to a special pelvic floor session, and actually just have a really great time bonding and learning with like-minded women. No egos, no competition, no body judgment, just solid strength training, real confidence, and a community of feisty women who lift heavy shit and lift each other up while they do it. Whether you're new to strength training or you're looking to fine-tune your form, investing in a weekend like this can really fast-track your progress, boost your confidence, and help you train smarter for years to come. Click that link in the show notes, come join me, and get strong this fall.
Regular listeners of Feisty podcasts will not be surprised to learn that for decades, running shoes have been researched, tested, and designed for men. Brands have relied on the shrink it and pink it approach to sell male shoes to female customers. But women's feet differ from men's in numerous ways. We have increased toe splay, higher arches, a more narrow heel, a lower ankle bone, upward angled toenails, and a rounded instep that is smaller in circumference. And because of all those differences, that is why we need HEDAs. HEDAs has unlocked the science behind women's biomechanics through dedicated research and creates running shoes specifically designed for women. So that means a lower heel collar to reduce rubbing on women's ankle bones, plate design to provide heel stability and to decelerate foot impact, rounded instep creating a snug fit through the middle to match the curvature of a woman's foot. Every feature is designed to give you more power and less problems. Breathability that lets your feet breathe easily mile after mile, plus fast drying tech that doesn't allow sweat to slow you down, adaptive stretch that molds to your foot like it was made just for you. I personally have been running in HEDAs for over 2 years, and from the first time I tried them, I knew that there was something different. They really felt like they were made for me. The shoes are super light but provide good cushioning, and they really support my very high arches. I honestly didn't think I would notice the difference after running for so many years in male model shoes, but I really did. So, try HEDAs for yourself today. Go to hedas.com and use the code STAYFEISTY for 20% off. That is Stay Feisty for 20% off at hedas.com. The link will, as always, be in the show notes.
Hi, it's Kelly O'Mara.
And Sarah Gross, your other feisty friends.
And we host the newish, feisty podcast, The Feist, covering everything in women's sports that you need and want to know every week.
And the things you didn't know you wanted to know.
In one feisty hour, it's the only women's sports podcast covering all your favorite sports: cycling, running, CrossFit, rugby, the Olympics, the things that other podcasts don't cover.
And giving you the stories behind the scenes, of course.
And why should these feisty listeners listen to The Feist, Sarah?
Well, okay, Kelly, you know how women's sports in the last couple of years have reached this inflection point?
So I hear, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're, most people are kind of aware that women's sports are growing, especially on the side of basketball, soccer. And it's really hard. I really want to be able to keep up with that movement and what's happening and the things that are growing and the behind the scenes information and the business side and how the revenue's growing in different leagues. But I don't want to have to watch a ton of sports every week. Not that I don't love watching women's sports. But there's just a lot of it now, right? So
there are a lot of sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our podcast is a way to keep up on the movement of women's sports while you are able to still pick and choose the ones that you want to watch yourself. So that's why people should listen.
Because we watch them.
Because we
and
watch
tell
them
you
for you
about them.
Yes. And we're fun.
And about everything. And we're fun. And we're going to do all the research behind the scenes, tell you everything you need to know. Listen to The Feist every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. You can follow or subscribe to The Feist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. All right, before we wrap up, having been, how many of these grand finals have you done? You? 4, 5?
Since 2013.
10?
So,
okay.
Wow, that's a lot. I go 8. I think
8.
I missed 2 years.
Okay. I was going to say, does it feel different than a normal race? Is there, because they also have the age group world championship there, like, is it like a bigger deal?
Yeah, and I think like when it depends like where you're at in your career and like going into the last race, I think, of how you perceive it. Because if you're vying for like the podium, I think you go in a little bit more heightened than say if you're like a top 10 athlete. And then I also feel like if it's your first time, you also go into it with that same like world, like this is different, because it's the closest I can think of comparing it would probably be like we have the Olympics, and then this is the second most important race other than Olympic trials probably.
Sure.
But in terms of like outcome type of performance, but it is really neat just having like everybody in one place. You just have like so many things going on, and because of it being with all the age group races, like I mean, I think back to like Lausanne, it was like insane how packed it was, like on the course, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm curious like what kind of crowds you'll get in Wollongong. Obviously it's a big triathlon area.
I would think it would be really, I mean, the only thing that would take away maybe from how packed it might be is just how many age groupers went, just because of it being a really big trip and maybe a little bit less accessible than say
I
like
mean
a
from
European
here,
race.
sure. But like the year my husband did 70.3 Worlds when it was in Australia that one year, and everybody we knew in the US was like, oh, well, nobody's going. But then you get there and it turns out like all of Australia does triathlon too. And so it wasn't like there were still huge numbers.
Oh no, yeah.
Right.
Not,
so it's like,
oh no, I don't think it'll be desolate at all. Like for sure there's going to be like a lot of crowds. I just wasn't sure how much it would impact like
Americans traveling over there, sure.
Or even Europeans.
Or Europeans,
but
yeah.
To your point, like Gold Coast has been a grand final before. Yeah. So
yeah, I know we have some feisties racing the age group race. So you can tag us, let us know how you do. And yeah, I'm curious. Well, I know we're going to have some of the athletes racing in the next couple of weeks come and join us, but we have to pin that down because they're all very busy right now. And I hate bothering people before races. This was the problem in Kona too. Like I don't want to bother people. I don't want to bother athletes. Like I'm like, you do you. So after they're done racing, they'll come and join us. And you can tune in on Triathlon Live .tv. The T100 race will be on their YouTube. It is the evening before here in America, so don't forget that. And yeah, good luck to everybody listening who is also racing.
Yeah, so much triathlon activity.